Hey, hey, Craig. Yeah, good stuff. I'm not sure what's going into because my desktop audio is turned off. Um, yeah, I'm checking my YouTube on another device so I can see you, but I'm pretty sure that your sound is not coming through. So I probably need, well, from your from feedback or wondering, do I need to turn desktop audio? Like your sound last time didn't go through. No, it's not coming through. I think I need to turn on desktop audio, but then I will probably hear myself like 10 times as well. So if I turn this, yeah, this is when the sound starts doing the same thing as the screen.
But when it cascades.
Yeah, I think.
So I hear myself now.
Oh,
There's
now,
like a
yeah, now
second
your
or two
voice.
delay.
Yeah, now your voice is on going into the stream, but not. Yeah, I have to turn my feedback. Should I just turn my feedback? Ooh, yeah, really need a sound engineer.
Yeah,
Surely.
I don't know enough about OBS to help you.
Yeah, now definitely your sound is coming through into the stream as well. Can you say something?
Something.
Yeah, it is there, but I wonder if so essentially, yeah, if the desktop audio on anything will come through, which is yeah, if I have like an email notification or something, it will also go into it.
Right.
Yeah, and the window is that Zoom window.
I don't know if you can turn on the audio window by window.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's what you should have options for that too, but I only have yeah, my microphone and the desktop audio. Yeah.
I think you can pipe Zoom into OBS, but I don't know how.
Oh, you said that's what you were doing before. Yeah.
Well, no. So before I would use Zoom to connect to YouTube. So I didn't use OBS at all.
Oh, right. Oh, right. Yeah, that's why you said you needed the yeah, paid version of Zoom, yeah, to just stream directly to YouTube. So you needed those codes, right, from the streaming?
Again, I don't remember how I did it. I'd have to do some Googling to get back to.
Yeah, it was complicated like that in streaming to say LinkedIn or something. It was like that. You had to actually within LinkedIn put the codes for the YouTube stream to work. Yeah, it was crazy. Whereas in OBS, a lot of the YouTube stuff is just being automated because they're using the APIs and everything.
Right.
Uh, Oh, and my oh, how the Zoom screen is funny as well. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things that you can keep messing around with the settings forever, and it will still not work. Yeah, you actually need like a sound engineer or someone like actually sitting on the stream, modifying things as you go for it to properly work.
Yeah, I've seen when I was looking into do some of this, there are several YouTube channels.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're pretty good explaining those things.
Yeah, how to connect to OBS and how to connect OBS to Zoom into YouTube and creating virtual speakers or something, virtual microphone.
Right,
It all looked really complicated, and then I
right,
connected Zoom directly to YouTube and it was done. I didn't worry about it.
right. Yeah, no, yeah. There's too many options in OBS. I think Google actually like supporting this project or something, so I think they kind of encouraging you to use it almost.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's same with a lot of the editors, the video editors. What I'm currently using, the DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
Yeah, which is also one of those over-engineered thousands of buttons thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's thousands of buttons, there's thousands of use cases and optimization steps,
Mm.
but I don't know what they are. Right? I've gone live a handful of times on YouTube,
I
and either it was myself alone and I set it up for that, or it was direct to Zoom and I set it up for that. I've never tried to do both, although it might be if you called me and shared your screen, it would all work, but I don't know.
right. Yeah, we could try that, but I'm not sure. Sorry. Right. So that's if you're streaming from Zoom to YouTube,
That's
then
right.
whoever is, streaming, then the other person is calling in that Zoom. Yeah. Right. But
That's right.
with yeah, but with OBS, you could essentially stream, like potentially stream to both channels or whatever else. Yeah, much more options.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe too many options.
That's why there's thousands of buttons, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what are you working on?
Yeah, this one just testing. So it just started having ads on bionicchaos.com, but then every time I refresh the window, uh, actually it doesn't come up anymore. I think after some time, Google is actually realizing that it's you, because I mean I'm using it from my own IP, so then they stop showing you the ads. Um, but yeah, just going over this should be live. Yeah,
Yeah, I
just
see it.
added this the ECG signal generator I was working on yesterday for a couple of days. Yeah, obviously it needs adjusting and testing how it looks like on different screen sizes and stuff. But you could, is it? Yeah, it is working. Um, yeah, get this normal. Yeah, it's with the naming normal, regular, and then normal random. But the normal random will actually sort of, yeah, it will randomize the amplitude, I think, of each QRS complex. Yeah, so you can change. So say you started running or something, so it will. What the original default was 500 samples, but might add some more of those. They just repeat of one another. But yeah, this is fully synthetic. I want to next thing like plot them in different colors, like the Q. No, sorry, the was it the P? Oh, those should be reversed. As the P, then the QRS and T, plot them like have them as three separate waveforms. And then you can change the distance. Yeah, so now
Yes.
it's
So I
0.
don't know enough about the heart to understand what you're saying.
Oh, just yeah, this is all synthetic stuff. So
Right,
it's
right. But you
there's a
say,
lot of assumptions.
there's the P and the Q, and I don't know what P and Q are.
Ah, right. Just this blip is the probably a full name for it, but just P for short. And then you have the QRS complex is the big spike, and then the T complex is the one at the end. So in theory, well, I have to check. I want to put some actual references to this, but supposedly if you have one of those conditions,
Hmm.
that's what it will look like in simulation. That's of course that's not real data.
Right. So like there, I can see the large hump after the spike.
Yeah, so that would be called different names. So if you have like abnormality like this
Hmm.
in your UCG, so this one, in theory, again, that's from
Right, right.
some textbook, will be called that, and hyperkalemia will be where you don't have the complex before the blip, before the QRS.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's all it does, really. So you can generate your synthetic uh, like synthetic ECG, just so if you're testing one of those, ECG, what is it, Holt monitors or something, then you can see that that the output is the same as the input or something like that. So yeah, the reason for doing it is not quite there, but but it's just nice to play with.
Yeah. So if you're playing, of course, that's reason enough for
um,
just
yeah.
testing it out. That's fun.
Oh, the general idea, yeah, have also like a consulting thing on the. This is the Bionic Cloud. Is the idea is over there you will have stable stuff and eventually like a login and everything. Um, but yes, running the same server. So the general idea is that if you like anything you see on the Bionic Chaos side, which is, as the name suggests, all prototypey crap, then you can have something more stable running on the other side, which at the moment is the same thing. But
Yeah, but so you have this kind of plan of getting a bunch of these apps running, advertise them, and then hopefully get some work or some subscriptions or some whatever out the
I'm
back end.
thinking more like no string attached type of just go Patreon and
Okay.
like one of those restaurants. There's one at is it Abbotsford? The
Oh,
bakery there.
the lentil is anything?
Yes, that
The
one.
pay what you think it's worth?
Yes, that's the one. That's probably the best case scenario. Could $1, $2, whatever, like or nothing kind of thing. If it's so if it's on this side, this will be like the prototype stuff. I mean, hopefully this will just remain there. Yeah, if I have a stable internet connection, because I'm hosting everything myself just on
Right.
a home server. But yeah, if my NBN used to play up, and surprisingly they actually fixed it. Like now it's super stable. I have this Python script running monitoring my connection, and now it's much more stable than like last month I had 60 disconnections, just dropouts.
Wow.
Yeah. And every time it will go back online, it will obviously give me a new IP address, but that meant that I'll have to go on Cloudflare and modify the DNS. So when you go on the site, which IP is linking to.
Right.
But now it's all automated. But once I, it was fine because it took me forever to, it was just some code on GitHub which I modified. And by the time it was actually working properly for me, the dropouts stopped. But the NBN guys were actually on site fixing stuff. They said like the channel impedance was too high, so essentially it wasn't rounded properly in various places. I think it's just a case of like the connecting your neighbor and your connection just goes, uh, yeah,
Yeah, the NBN isn't exactly model of internet stability,
yeah,
sadly.
yeah, that's right. I don't know what it's like in other countries. Probably much cheaper and faster.
Well, I'm used to the US where it's quite cutthroat in terms of getting people's money.
Is it very different depending where you are?
A little bit. I mainly, most of my time is spent either in cities or like satellites.
Oh, right,
So my parents are in a town called Rock Hill, South Carolina, but it's about
right,
an hour just drive from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charlotte's pretty big.
yeah.
So even Rock Hill, I think, is 100,000 people now, 150,000.
Is it still in the research triangle? There was it Charlotte, is it Durham
Yeah, Raleigh, Durham, and
and Raleigh?
Chapel, what is it, Chapel Hill, I think?
Oh, Chapel. That's Duke. Duke, is it?
Duke and Duke, I think, is in Raleigh. I think UNC's in Chapel Hill. And then NC State's up there somewhere too. But I don't remember which one's where. But so Charlotte is kind of the south end of that triangle, and Rock Hill is further south from that.
Right. I wonder if you live inside the triangle, you will have like 100 times faster internet just because of the university.
Yeah, maybe. There is a university in Rock Hill called Winthrop, but I think it's like 10,000 students. So it's quite small by
Right,
US standards.
right. Yeah, I only recently realized the RMIT is like every given time 50,000 students are enrolled. But
Yeah.
then, but then again, it might be fudging numbers with all the online stuff and.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's fudging and
Oh
you
no,
know
they're
people
really
who
enrolled.
take yeah, people who take one class
Yeah,
or professional development type
yeah,
you
yeah.
take.
That's what I meant. Same as with the employment. Yeah, if you're working like 1 day a week, it still counts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, yeah. No, I'm
But
still
yeah,
figuring out. Just started it this year and still figuring out what is it actually for. But I've been doing it for quite some time. Yeah, that was the original data that I was looking at. It's the actual
mm,
EG, and I have another file. I have a lot of files, but another file I was looking at actually has seizures in them. So
mhm,
this is intracranial EEG
mhm.
from 8 channels on each hemisphere. So that's what we're kind of looking at originally. But it was already like 30 papers or so published with this data. Should have some links to the papers as well. That's what I can't see that screen. Are you watching it on? You're just watching the Zoom thing,
No, I'm watching on YouTube.
right?
So it's a little strange because I'll say
Yeah,
something and then yeah, it's not a bad lag, but it is a few seconds.
right. I don't know how to fix it, but because in there was another function in OBS to To start the virtual camera, and then can just in
Yeah.
Zoom. Yeah,
Yeah. There's but you mentioned the papers. This is something that, I kind of wish more data scientists would understand because they'll be papers using whatever method to detect seizures in this, and they'll get some great result because you need to have a great result to get published.
yeah,
But then you look at it and using all kinds of different techniques or even the same technique with different tweaks to the parameters or something, the performance will be all over the shop. And they don't tell you about all the meta parameters they tried that didn't work and how many times they overtrained it and didn't realize. And like
yeah,
I was at a conference and there was poster presentations and I'm walking around the posters and there's two posters side by side and both were we used a genetic data set and we used support vector machines and one of them had like 96% performance and the other one had 98% performance. And it's kind of like, wow, what did you do better than them?
yeah,
And they couldn't understand my question. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you both use the same data set. You both use support vector machines. Why are your results different?
yeah. Well, because they're doing like 100 submissions. If it's a Kaggle competition, so they're doing like 100 submissions a day, and they're just tweaking parameters by to a point
Yeah.
where they don't know themselves, like which why is it all of a sudden it's better? So it's, oh, like don't change anything.
Yeah, but again, this was a poster presentation
Right.
and they were literally like two students standing side by side. I'm like, do you two talk about what you've done and what worked and what didn't? Like, because I can read your, like, you're
Yeah.
both right here. What's
Yeah.
happening?
But then the
And
same data
yeah,
set, they could have selected different channel or
right, exactly. But then there's no standard way to do that. There's no standard way to separate into training and test. There's no standard way to, agree beforehand. And I see that as being a real problem because on the same data set, I was looking at a paper and then there was a follow-up paper that said, okay, we split everything according to exactly what you like, but we enumerated all the potential, whatever it was, 80-20 splits for training and test. And we look at all the potential splits and we apply your algorithm. And your algorithm is like the second best possible, or sorry, your publication is the second best possible after all of the potential splits.
yeah,
So did you split this once and call it good? Or did you keep splitting it until something worked and then you published that one?
yeah.
Like, and
Well,
all
yeah,
these things
that's
you just don't say in your presentation. You're like, we split it 80-20 and this is what we get. And look at that. Isn't that wonderful?
yeah, yeah. Like this competition was running 8 years ago. Was it 500 teams?
Yep.
That's the same data that I'm looking at the
Yep.
moment.
Yep.
Was the overview? Yeah, yeah. This is from dog data as well. Yeah, I should have that file which had an actual seizure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they had those uh, four
Hmm.
channel arrays
Yep.
on each side. But yeah, but that person, yeah, this does tells you that that first place made that many entries.
Yep.
So and the scores eventually just saturate. They're all the same. So yeah, so you ask different groups, like trying to determine what the actual difference was. You wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. There are some good kernels that go kind of step by step that start off with, and then we chuck it all into a neural network and see what we get. Versus then we do some feature engineering and we start, rather than looking at the raw channels, we look at differences of channels or we normalize channels or we do something else to change the inputs. And then this is what we get. And then you see that there's different types, or you can segment the data that maybe you can look at, just this case or just that case and then make a separate model on each segment. And then this is what we get. And so you can see kind of step by step how they're improving their model and say, well, okay, now we've got all these models. Well, now we take all those models and ensemble them together, and this is what we get, right? And so it's not just, hey, look, we've got a model, this is how it works, but let's start off with the simplest model, then let's apply some other techniques to improve it, as opposed to try something else, try something else, try something else, try something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what Levin Coleman was doing for this one.
Yeah, I remember 11.
Uh, yeah,
But
so
you should,
there's a
yeah,
paper on the actual results of the Kaggle competition as well.
I mean, hey, it gives you another publication, right?
Well, yeah, but that's actually analyzing the data of the of the
Right. Well, and a lot of times the difference will be so small because oftentimes in Kaggle there's a baseline, right? There'll be a baseline model if you look at the
that they
leaderboard.
publish. Yeah, so the current competition is going. There's already results from another study, and the performance is already quite high.
Hmm.
So essentially, if able to match it, you will
Yeah, yeah.
will get
A-
yourself up in the quite high on the leaderboard.
And it's hard to tell students or in general if the benchmark there is, I don't know, 67 and you're getting 70, you're
Yeah,
already doing much better. And if you can do that in a week, then spending an extra 200 submissions
yeah,
might not be worth it.
yeah, exactly. That's yeah.
And
That
so,
was my
something
point of. Sorry.
something I'd like to see with Kaggle is if you say you've got a month to do it, right? Because there's a deadline that you have to submit, right?
Yeah,
After that deadline, you get new data, and that's your test set. So it's an out of sample rather than randomly split.
right. Yeah, I think
Not so,
that's played it for you sometimes as well, don't they?
yeah, not so much for EEGs because that's fine, but in a lot of business cases, right? If you developed all your models pre-COVID,
Yeah,
looking at banking or hospitalizations or lots of other things, and then you wanted to use those models post-COVID, might not work. But if
yeah,
it's the same dogs living under the same conditions, right? A lot of the science experiments, you're trying to control for all the other variables, but in real life data science, you don't have control over all the other variables. That gives you inconsistencies.
oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Because that's a model, quite a consistent model. They actually have very similar seizures as well, like between subjects and within subjects. Whereas,
Yeah,
yeah, in humans is a whole different story.
yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if the dogs are bred to have a specific kind of epilepsy.
Yeah, there's some beagle. I'm surprised it's not a beagle 'cause they have congenital epilepsy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It,
they
it,
have essentially identical. And this data set is odd because it actually had normally they don't mix, but it had was it 5 dogs and 2 patients,
oh wow. Yeah.
which is quite unusual for yeah. And I actually got the data from another source, same data from another source because those ones are segments, so they are ictal, interictal,
Yeah, yeah.
as opposed to just the raw stuff. Yeah, they will have, and they will be all labeled. Yeah, interictal, preictal, postictal thing.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah, so that's good setup. Yeah, I think Levin spent a lot of time just setting this competition up.
Yeah, I
I
can
had actually
imagine.
a student looking at it like 5 years after it ended, like essentially doing the same thing, but without the prize money.
Yeah. Do they have kernels? Do they have published write-ups about what people did and why?
They did, yeah. I was just looking at it now. Yeah, that's the write-up of the first place. Um, yes.
Like in the code, do they have the? Oh, it's
Yeah, now they want it all in. to actually run as a kernel, like the algorithm up and running.
Yeah. It sounds like it's time for you to end your stream.
Ah, yes, like
Yep.
yeah. So I normally stream like in the morning, and then after she goes to sleep.
Right.
But she's controlling my schedule, so
Right. Fair enough. But yeah, I'm glad it's the sound thing. You figured
yeah.
out how to get it to
Ah,
work.
yeah. I hope so. Yeah. I'll probably discover now a problem like later or something,
Of
but
course.
it's good to keep testing it.
That's why you keep testing.
Yeah. It's only really fails when you push it harder.
Yep. The best way to get something to fail is demo it live.
Yeah,
Still
that's
true.
right. I like your approach to that.
Yep. All right, man. I'm
Yeah, cool,
gonna
cool. I'll talk
finish
to you
my
soon.
tea, but good to see
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Thanks. See ya. Bye.